Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubois Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. Something that I've really come to realize on this planet, and that's the fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown can be something that is super scary. Super scary in a way that can really just, in reality, make you not do something. Like run away from something and be scared of something. And in reality, all you got to do is just push forward and get more into it. Something I can think about when I just look at this simple, silly little dog right here. I remember the first day that I saw him, I was scared of him. I didn't know much about dogs. I didn't know much about what they do, how they act, what they're looking for. I didn't know much. For some reason, the instructors at the school that I went to decided to give me that big old beast. And I'm just like, man, this is gonna be a lot. This dude is jumping up in your face and going all crazy. And the fear of the unknown led me to a path of making me just, in a way, not do what it is that I should have been doing, wanted to been doing, need to be doing. The fear of the unknown put me in a situation that I was stumbling. And I was thinking down upon myself in a way. Like, down upon myself, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Fear of the unknown that can make me kind of be scared of things other than just, say, him, but other dogs, for instance. Because I didn't have a good understanding of what they're all about and what they're capable of and what I'm here to do to them and for them. Fear of the unknown is something that can really make a lot of people just not do a lot of things on this planet. And that's something that I would want to explain to more and more people of. Stop being scared of what it is that you want to do. Stop being scared of what it is that you see. Stop being scared of what it is that's around you. And start putting more faith in God and asking Him for the assistance to be able to figure out how to be able to get through the situations that you're in. Just because you haven't done it before, just because you haven't been a part of it, just because you don't know much about it, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. You should, in reality, try to double down even more and get further into it, as opposed to just trying to run away and trying to just get it out and trying to just forget about it. Hey, Oreo, I'll get down. Fear of the unknown is something that is very, very tragic that I've come to realize on this planet for a lot of people. Because a lot of us are not doing what it is that we should be doing. A lot of us are running away and trying to just escape what it is that we should be doing because we're scared of what it is that we think might happen. That's something that I really think I've come to realize about myself today is questioning myself sometimes. Mark, why is it that you pretty much always broke all the time? Broke when I mean like a monetary gain of when I'm running into that situation of I got a flat tire and I'm like, man, I ain't got enough to fix that. That's broke because when you don't have enough to be driving around out there, you got enough just for gas. You ain't got nothing else. And if you happen to have flat, and then you're trying to question like, do I have emergency contacts to contact? You broke when you don't even have emergency contacts to contact. You got nobody, you got nothing. I just question myself, like why is my life kind of, for the most part, always been like that? What is it that I'm doing wrong? A lot of times I've really come to realize, and something today just hit me with like this, aha. I'm scared of having more and being about more and being able to experience more because I'm used to what it is that I've always been used to. I'm used to what it is that I've always been a part of. I'm used to the fact of realizing that I always have to count every little thing and make sure that everything's going to line up. And then putting faith in God of saying, God, you got me right because this isn't adding up and this isn't working. Where I've realized more and more, you good, Johnny? I realized more and more, especially this past year, especially this past 2 years, the more that I believe in God more about what it is that I do out here that I never go without, but I'm always barely making it. Always just right on the edge. And something in me just says that that's almost like kind of a test of a challenge in reality of who we are and what we are as people. Because sometimes when you have more and you get more, what are you going to do with it? What's going to be around with you with it? What is going to happen to you when you run into the situation of having more? And then that's why a lot of times there's a lot of people, there's good advice that I've listened to and have heard from many of people of put yourself in a situation that you got to follow through. Put yourself in a situation that you gotta just, it is what it is. You can't just quit at this moment. That you have to push forward. You have to, or things are gonna get really, really sticky for you. And that's for me to really just have a good understanding, especially realizing exactly who God is. Because sometimes when you put yourself in that situation, it's like, there's no way I could have got through with that. There's no way. That's what I'm starting to notice more in my life today. It's like, there's no way I did that. There's no way I lined that up. I didn't, in reality, do any work. That's the thing that I just am fascinated about with something that I was discussing that was like not that great about the whole concept of one part of the Bible and how it speaks of one part, a lot of parts in reality, the whole thing. God does a lot for us that we don't have to do so much. That we're gonna go and the people in the Bible that we're gonna go and take all that land and have the promised land, and we're not doing any of the work to get it. We don't have to do any of the fighting, any of the battling. We're getting out of slavery. We don't have to do any bickering, any battling, any fighting, anything. That God does it. He moves the people and he gets them out. If the people don't allow him to just be able to freely, easily leave, he puts pressure on the people to allow his people to get out without the people having to do anything. And that's something that I've just come to realize is an absolute amazing thing to be able to have and be about on this planet. There's a God to be able to help you get out of some things without you having to do anything about it. That the more faith that you put in him, the more that he's going to do for you and want to generously do for you. And really just, I think that's something that happens to a lot of us is when great things happen to you, when what's a good word I can use there? When relief comes to you, when you were struggling, and then this sense of release comes to you where something comes in and it allows you to be able to just get past. You know, sometimes it's an interesting thing here in the United States of America because you can't just only go to zero anymore. We go past that. We go to -2, -4, 5, 6,000, -8,000. I mean, I know some people that are dang near -$200,000 in debt. And we go negative. We don't just go to zero. Going to zero is one thing of stressing and struggling. But going to like -200,000 is like, man, how are you ever going to possibly make this work? Because everything in your entire life is hooked on this. Your house, your car, your car insurance is on credit. Everything's on credit, and then all of a sudden you don't have no more. Being at zero is a blessing, and it's messed up how we can mess ourselves up out here and being able to get into the negatives. But sometimes when things happen, to be able to allow you to be able to get back to the zero at least, where you're just like, yeah, I'm at zero. And you like do a praise God for, you just say that, but you don't actually like mean it and believe it. Because you think that you were the one that lined that up, you were the one that did that, you're the one that made that happen. As opposed to just realizing that maybe God did that. And the more that you take the credit for your own self, and then at the same time, kind of complain a little bit. Something that I've come to realize about myself of really just exiting out of my life. If $5 comes to me, I'm thank you. That's well done enough. Even though I needed 20, but I got 5, I'm 5 closer to that 20. I only need 15 more, so I'm on my way. It's something to always praise and not just getting a hissy fit of I didn't get enough and there wasn't enough and I didn't have enough and why did it run short and just be blessed about where it is that you're able to get. And I think that a lot of your problems are going to start to go away when you look at life that way. Realizing that just get back to zero. Just getting back to being at the level 1, I guess I could say, at zero. Level 0 instead of -100, -5,000 is an absolute blessing. And then when you realize that and recognize that, you're going to start to be able to go into the 10 and the 20 and start to go positive. Start to head on to a different realm. And stop being afraid of what it is that you've never really experienced before. And I think a lot of us are out here struggling, not because we don't have the skills, not because we don't have the time, not because we don't have the patience, not because we don't have the willingness, not because we don't have the desire, but just because we run into a situation that we just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to come. We don't know how it's going to look. We don't know what's going to go down, that if this does actually work, where am I going to go and how are things going to be? I think a lot of times we're out here just scared. And that pushes us to not do and not have and not be about, as opposed to just having faith of realizing that maybe these things are going to be good for you. Maybe it's going to be able to help you out, as opposed to it being something that is going to absolutely slow you down and destroy you. Or at the same time of recognizing and realizing that maybe you don't have what you want to have because you're not ready for it yet. And something that I would for sure ask God for, probably one of the main things that I really have prayed a lot about is patience. I think that patience is something that is absolutely amazing. It's something that, for a fact, that my dad has shown me. My dad that he didn't birth me, but he was in the process of that to bring me here. That one lesson that I can definitely learn from my dad, from even to today and everything that I remember from him is being very, very patient. Always being there. always on time, always willing, always consistent. And something that when I do that and I do these practices with, how he get over there so fast? When I do this simple work with these dogs, and I realize that I do all these practices that this Bible talks about, is having patience and having understanding and being willing. I realized a big transformation, a big change that goes on with them, a big change. And if this stuff works with outside of just us as humans, it makes you question more about trying these concepts out with more and more things. Something that I can say with even trying to grow some grass. It don't grow really fast, but with patience, you're gonna see something absolutely amazing. With anything that goes on, with patience, you're gonna be able to really just slow down and be able to appreciate what's around you and what comes to you. You're gonna really appreciate it. Patience is something that is absolutely amazing. And I think a lot of us are running around scared of having patience because we want it now and we need it now. And if I don't get it now, then I'm scared of what's gonna happen. I'm scared of what's gonna go down. As opposed to just being patient and waiting and seeing what's gonna turn out, what's gonna happen. And patient and willing to see and realizing there's just something that I can never get out of my mind. I forget where I even heard this from and where the inspiration comes from, but just realizing that I'm still alive. Somehow, I've been able to make it. Somehow I've been out here at this place now. This will be my 5th year, and somehow I'm still here. Somehow I'm still eating. Somehow I just doesn't make any sense to me. Somehow all my animals are still eating, even though I get to the time sometimes that I'm just like just this past week, I was just like, man, I'm running. I'm not running low. I'm running negative. That I don't know what to do here, where it seems like things just aren't quite working out, and me not having patience and being on I want it now, and having fear in me that things aren't going to follow through, and having fear in me and not having trust of saying, hey God, and realizing I've never been in a situation that I just have never been able to follow through. And when you run into a scenario where, hi Johnny, when you run into a scenario where you realize that you're still alive and things still keep coming to you, things still keep happening for you, why are you not trusting and believing that God is going to be able to do for you and be able to provide for you? Why are you still not trusting and believing that you're not going to make it? Because yet you've always been able to make it. You know, a lot of us have been in bad relationships, good relationships. A lot of us have had great jobs and bad jobs. A lot of us have had just sticky situations that we run in. Bad car accidents, bad plane accidents, bad biking and motorcycle and bicycle accidents, and skateboard accidents. And a lot of us been in some sticky stuff, but yet we're still here. Yet we're still here. Yet you're still moving along. Yet you're that one that's able to see this and still is moving forward. Even though all this stuff has happened to you. Even though when you were in the middle of it, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to be able to make it happen. I just don't know. But yet you're still here. That is something that is absolutely amazing. It's just beyond amazing. It's just super wild on how we're still here and how we're still going and how things are still cruising along. So that's for me to just stop being scared about what it is that I don't know. Stop being worried about what it is that I haven't seen and hasn't happened yet. And start pushing more into realizing that it's going to be taken care of. And when it starts to be able to get taken care of, then I'll be able to help and take care of more people as opposed to just your own self. It's something that, I don't know what everyone else is praying for, but I do know in reality. I know a lot of people are praying for, I want a better house and a car and a better spouse and a better kids and better just stuff. For me, I have yet to pray for that since the day that I started to have real good faith in Jesus, is understanding who he is and what he's all about and what he's done for me. That since he's done so much for me, I just me personally feel like someone who has to do for somebody else. That if I can help you out with what it is that I have no choice but to do it because of what Jesus has done for me. Not because I want to get into the, hey, Oreo, get down. Not because I want to get into the good graces of God in any sort of way, because I never will be by doing some work out here. But I have it in me that I have to help out because he's done so much for me to allow me to be able to do and be able to be. And being able to just continuously sit here and say something and do something and be about something. that every day I have something to be able to eat and be able to drink and somewhere to be able to sleep. It's not too hot, and I don't run my heat. In reality, my heat broken in the house. I don't have no heat, and somehow I still keep making it through it. I be complaining some days, but yet I'm still here. And since that's the case, I have no choice but to try to share that and help that with somebody else. My prayers are to make sure that what I have, everyone else has. Even though I know that's not a realistic goal. It's not a realistic reality. But in reality, that's me, my own self, with my own blockage that's saying and being scared of what a world would look like if more people were able to have what it is that they wanted to be able to have, to be able to survive in a better way, as opposed to just surviving, living in the negatives. At least being able to survive it, living at the zero, and then starting to be able to figure out how to move forward. But when you're living in a way that you're already way far behind and you're trying to figure out how to just be able to catch up, that's something that for me, I want to figure out how to be able to help more and more people to be able to fix that. Because my Bible is a very interesting book. I say my Bible, it's everybody's Bible, but the one I have is for me. And the relationship I have with God is me with him. And that's something that I would want more and more people to have. But it's something that it has a lot of really great life lessons in it, especially when it comes down to debt and it comes down to how to treat each other. And a lot is going on in the world today that is just devastating, that we're not treating each other so right. And something about me that I see where I live, I must live in a too nice area because I don't see no crime. The crime that we have here is people breaking into people's cars at night. They're not breaking in. If you leave it unlocked, they're just going inside. We don't really have crime here. I don't have what's going on here that I can hear about in stories and the news and everywhere else. That where I live is kind of sheltered, I guess I could say, in a way. But at the same time, I think that's because, and based on the way that I am and who I am, that I didn't even choose this place. This place was chosen for me. I just showed up here. I ended up here. Somebody called me and said, I need some help. And I came here and I looked at it. I said, this is nice. And no idea about the neighborhood. Because in reality, we're growing like crazy. No idea where I am, what's going on, and what's around, where the stores are. I just moved here, just blind. I didn't even care what stores, what gas, what anything was around. I just moved here. And I moved here and I moved into a place that is peaceful. It's super kind, super loving. And to me, I have a good understanding of realizing that I think that was set up in a way because of what it is that I do. That my reality starts to come closer and closer and closer to me when I start to do that for more and more people. But I don't even keep account anymore that I used to, of how many people that I've helped out and just helping you just because. Giving you thousands of dollars of advice and success for just nothing, just a handshake, just for me having the opportunity to be able to speak something to you. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just really enjoy doing that. I really do. I like showing people how to be able to do something that you've never seen before and don't know about, to be able to get you out of that fear. Because what I run into with, say, the type of stuff that I mess with helping people with some dogs, you're in fear. You're scared. You super nervous. And if I can come in and say a couple of words and do a couple things and show you a few stuffs to get you out of that fear, it's an absolutely amazing thing. Sometimes there doesn't need to be a monetary gain about that, other than a just thank you. Because a lot of times I just wake up and I just say thank you. I say thank you. Thank you, God, for me being here. Thank you for getting me out of a lot of the fear that I was in. Because I was scared of what's going to happen and why is someone going to think this and say that and do this to me. Where today, not saying I don't care what people have to say about me, but I don't allow it to affect me and slow me down and hinder me, damage me. There was definitely a time in the day that's why I've never been a person on any sort of social media, which is weird because I never did that, but yet I went straight to broadcasting 2-hour long videos about myself every single day. It's weird. It's weird, and that's what I'm going to say is the power of who God and what God's all about, be able to do for you, is to be able to get you to get out of that fear of the unexpected, to just be in fear of God. That's all that you need. That's it. Fear Him, and then you're going to be able to find more success in the outside world that you physically can see out here. But if you're fearing just different things of, I don't know when I'm unsure, when you're fearing, I don't want to get into that job because I might fail at it. When you're fearing, I don't want to get in a relationship with somebody because it might go bad. If you're fearing that I don't want to start doing this exercise stuff because I might not keep up with it. If you're fearing all that and not actually getting into it, you're living a life that I would want to say something to you of saying, please pray to Jesus to be able to help you, get you through that. And he definitely will. Because you shouldn't be scared of doing some stuff out here of what if it messes up or what if it fails. Get into it. If it fails, at least you figured out what you did and then it failed. If it's good to go, isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we're looking for? But if we never get into it because we think it's going to fail, we never get into it because we're scared of it, we can never get into it because we're worried about what could happen and what should happen, we're limiting ourselves in a very, very great matter out here and not being able to pursue something more that we should be about on this planet. We all are going to want to and should be desiring to constantly keep doing more. That's what I'm going to say is probably one of the most interesting things about this life. That's something that I've come to realize about some simple dogs. Dogs today are nothing like they were before. They want more. Before, you could just put a few little basic boundaries on them and they would be good to go for the remainder of their life. But today, they're constantly like, I see where we're at, now where are we going next? Now I see where we're at, now where we're going. They're just going. So it makes me think like, I love how they're pushing to push me to keep going more, to keep doing better. They just keep pushing me to just keep on just bettering myself. And it's an interesting thing that there's some stuff in this life that is neat to be able to be around. That's why for me, I don't know what it is that I haven't always really enjoyed and appreciated dogs in reality, but I've really come to realize the greatness behind them. That you're scared of them in most cases because you don't have understanding of them. Like, I'll never forget the time that I first saw, like, say, my sister's dog. When I first saw this big old dog, I'm not gonna lie, I was scared of this dog. I didn't know nothing about dogs. All I knew was what people told me about dogs. I seen this dog and I'm just like, is he cool? Can I pet that? Is he all right? And then when I see him after I do all the training and get the knowledge and the understanding from going to a school to teach me about how to play with some dogs, I look at that boy today like, oh, look at him, he's so cool. No longer zero fear. Zero fear. Zero fear for me, even when someone says to me that this dog has bit somebody and killed a dog and has bit this and bit that. I'm just like, cool, give me that leash. Let me hold that. I have zero fear because I have the understanding on how to take care of this, how to manage this, how to work with this. I have the understanding of realizing what tools I need to get the job done. I don't need to be scared. I can be a little nervous sometimes because I'm like, man, this dog bit somebody and put him in the hospital, but hey, let me get that leash. How silly is that for someone to do that? But when you have the confidence because you have the understanding, because you know how to work it, you're no longer scared. And that's something that a lot of us should really take to heart. If you're scared of something, maybe you should learn more about it first. Learn more about it so that you can have a better understanding of it, so that you can see when it actually is dangerous and when things are scary for you. If you're scared about walking somewhere and thinking that someone's going to be able to rob you, maybe you should take some defense courses. Maybe you should get into something somehow to make yourself feel a little more a little more just comfortable. So for me, I do some things. I've done some defense things, and I keep certain items on me at all times. And I still don't need no gun. I just don't believe in them. I've been shot in my life, and I don't believe that a regular person like me walking around should just have a gun. I don't know. I just don't get it. A knife, yeah, I got a knife on me 100% of the time. And that's what makes me feel confident. Knowing that I have the skills, I have the understanding, I have the training behind me to keep me in a safe manner. And then I have the tools on me to be able to do such a thing without having to get so hostile, without having to get so crazy. So I have confidence knowing where I go that I'm fine. And if you're scared, then you got to do something to build yourself to be able to give you the understanding of how to get out of that. And that comes down to any and everything on this planet, to a simple job that you're looking for, to a simple relationship that you're looking for. If you're, I'm too scared to talk to this or approach this, and maybe you should do something to help you be able to get past and be able to push through that, so that you're no longer nervous, you're no longer worried, that you're just, this is just whatever, this is fine, I can handle that. And that's where God really does help us a lot, with being able to push us through these things that we're terrified of on this planet, that we are unsure of on this planet. And he's going to do that just so happily, so cheerfully. He's going to do that in a way that he's going to be pleased to help you, because he doesn't want you to be scared of no mess out here. Nothing in this physical world. He don't want you to be scared of none of it. He wants you to be scared of God alone. That's it. Just be scared of God. And God's going to be able to push you through these fears that you have out here. These fears of, oh my goodness, I can't be on heights. These fears of spiders. These fears of all this stuff. It's like me when something simple, not simple. This is something that a lot of people get jammed up with. Snakes. I used to be afraid of snakes. I'll see a snake, I'm like, ooh, snake. And then today I see a rattlesnake this big, I'm like, jump on that, let's go get it. I go chase them down now because I'm not scared of them, because I've done the research to realize what their strikes are like, what their venom is like, what happens, what their defenses are like, what their offenses are like. I've done all the research on them. So when I see it today, I'm just like, look at that scared little, stupid little thing. Get out of here, because you're trying to kill my animals. It doesn't terrify me because I learned its nature. I learned about it. I studied it, and it makes you to be able to be more confident with what you do in this life. So that's why for me, I would just tell more and more people that things that you're scared of, you're more likely scared of it just because you don't know, not because you actually do know. Because if you do know, you're not going to be scared. So take a little more time, spend a little more time with learning about the things that you're scared about and diving into it as opposed to just running from it. And today I just want to say thank you for me being able to have a good understanding of realizing that it's not my timeline anymore, at least, the day that I decided to put all my faith in Jesus, that it's his time to be able to shine, to be able to show somebody something. And that's why for me that, I don't know what it is, but I just have it in me that something's going to happen that's going to be able to allow God to be able to show what he's all about. It's going to be something that I'm going to be able to do to be able to allow somebody to be able to see such a thing. And I know miracles of putting hands on people and bringing people back from the dead and getting demons out of people and doing any of that. There's going to be something that's going to have to happen to the people that just I know. Everything isn't just a whole miracle so the whole world can see, but just someone that knows me, that is questioning, is God real? That something's going to happen, that you're going to see it, that you're going to have no choice but to know that God is real because he's doing something and has done something for this guy here. Me, my meaningless self out here, that God's going to do something for me that's going to make you look at it and say, yeah, there's no way he did that. There's no way. So that you can have a good understanding of realizing who God is, the God that I speak to, that I communicate with, the God that I'm able to read about in this Bible, that if I have a question, I go to his words to figure out how to be able to get through it. And it's something that I hope to be able to be used more by God. Just remove my own self more and more to allow God to be able to do what he needs to do, to be able to help people, to be able to show people, to be able to guide people into a different way of living. Because the way of living of the world today is getting, like I said, not around me, it's nice, calm, and pretty. But the world is getting kind of savage and absolutely just destructive. And that's just because we're getting further and further away from recognizing, realizing, and working with God. That we're trying to just do it, say, on our own at this point. We're no longer trying to lean on God. And the more that we start to disrespect and disobey God, the more ruthlessness we're going to see out here. The more crazy we're going to start seeing out here. We're not going to see things get better because we get away from God. That's something that is just maddening to me. It's strange to me. It doesn't just get better. The more that you lean into God, the better the world is going to get. It's not going to separate and divide. That's something that constantly happens because we as humans are the ones that do that, not what God is wanting us to do. We as humans are saying, this is what the word says, and we're going to fight and battle over two different words and the meanings of it in the Bible. No. That's not what we do as people, and that's not what our Bible states for us to do. It states for us that if you got someone out here that's preaching a completely different message, a message that ain't got nothing to do with that Bible and who God is, then yeah, we gotta be able to make sure that they understand that we can't go out saying that to people, because that's actually pushing people further away. But when you just have that book and you can read that book and just see what's going on here, we all see it and we just read it for our own selves. That's something that I think that we should for sure more be able to do. We in the 2023, we are all educated today. I mean, I'm seeing some young kids today that are reading some very interesting texts already. That we some educated folks in this whole world today at very, very young ages. So if you're at the age of even 12 right now, you know how to, I'm pretty sure I can guarantee and say that you know how to comprehend and understand some information. You may not be able to read it from everywhere, but I can guarantee you this, you can listen and hear some stuff, be able to understand it. And that's something that more and more of us should really start to do so that we can get into the trueness. Because there's something that I realized real fast with starting to read the Bible, that a lot of people were telling me completely different stuff about it from what I was reading. I started reading some stuff. I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what Noah's Ark was all about. People told me this about it. I didn't know that that's what the Genesis 1:1 was about. People telling me this about it. I didn't know that that what the whole story of the Israelites and what they were doing and what was going on with them. I didn't know about that. I didn't know what these 10 commandments actually came from and who they were for and what they were all about. I didn't know that. I didn't know that all these commandments and all these laws, everything changed up when Jesus came. I didn't know that. When I was reading it, I was finding out some information. And I was like, people tell me different stuff about this. And then it makes me question, like, why? Why? Why do that? And it's something that I think that if more of us would just start reading and starting to pay more attention, then we all would be able to find that peace that we're actually looking for on this planet. And that peace is not going to be for everybody because, the Bible clearly states that some people are just going to reject it and it just is what it is. But for those that actually do want to get out of that distress that you're in, that trauma that you're in, that just absolute depression that you're in, that situation that you have too much and you don't know what to do with. There's a lot of people on this planet that are like that. It's a conversation I had today. So many people have so much. We've got so many multimillionaires and billionaires that are lost and confused, that they need something. They got the money. They figured it out. They got the system right. They put the numbers in, they put it here, put it here, put it here, and they got the money. But they don't know what the heck to do with it. They bought the cars, they bought the houses, they bought the land, they bought the girls, they bought the husbands, they bought it all. But they don't know what to do with themselves. And they need a message of Jesus to them, because that's what's going to allow them to figure out where to put that. I'm telling you, having nothing is just as much as having too much. It's both as complicated. And if you don't know where to put it all, and you've already spent it all and still not satisfied in life, I think you're worse off in that case in reality than not having any. Because at least when you don't have any, you still have dreams of having a lot. You got dreams of being able to have that abundance, and I'll be able to buy a car, be able to take vacations. But when you've already had it all and done all that and still not satisfied, then where do you go? I think that those people in reality need more help than anyone else on this planet. That's something for me to really, really put more thought behind about what it is that I'm doing and where it is that I want to go and what it is that I want to continue to keep on pushing forward with on this planet. That a lot of times what we think somebody needs help with, they actually don't. And what they actually really need help with, they don't want to speak about it because they're scared. And when they're scared, they don't ever want to try to get into it. That's for me to try to figure out how to be able to get you out of that fear, to get you to actually just pursue it and just trust it and just believe it. God is real. Jesus is real. He came here for you. And you may be scared to want to just, word that I like using is submit to him. But realize that once you just get past that fear and you get into it, something great is going to be able to happen to you and come to you in your life. Thank you.